Welcome to T-News 9 channel. The 190 IQ Killer. Chapter 3-1. A letter in the wind. After the fall, the bridge was teeming with people in police uniforms. A chaotic dance of flashing lights and urgent voices. Detective Ramos filled out the preliminary report, his pen scratching against the paper, a sound lost in the night. Nearby, Ethan leaned against the cold steel railing, his gaze fixed on a small, almost unnoticeable dent in the metal. A 10-year-old scar. He whispered into the darkness, the words meant for no one but himself and the ghost that haunted him. "You planned this back then, Kay? Or were you just waiting for me to fall?" As if in response, a strong gust of wind swept across the bridge, carrying with it the scent of rain and the distant city. It pushed a lone white envelope across the gritty concrete ground, a stark contrast to the dark pavement. The envelope slid until it stopped right at Ethan's feet. He bent down, his movements slow, and picked it up. His own name was written on the front in crisp, clean type, Detective Ethan Graves. His heart pounded a heavy rhythm against his ribs. He tore it open. Inside there was only a single sheet of paper. The words were typed, precise, with every line perfectly centered, a hallmark of his adversary's obsessive neatness. It read, "The lie you ignored has given rise to a new lie. The man tonight is just the domino in the middle. Find the first one." Ramos walked over, his face etched with concern. "What is it?" Ethan didn't speak. He just handed him the paper. Ramos read it quickly, his expression darkening, a deep sigh escaping his lips. "So now he wants you to go back to the first domino. What is it? What's he talking about?" Ethan didn't look at his partner. Instead, he stared down at the dark, swirling river below, the water a black mirror reflecting nothing but the night sky. "The first lie," Ethan said, his voice barely audible over the wind. "The lie that caused it all." Ramos frowned, the confusion clear on his face. "Which lie?" Ethan closed his eyes, shutting out the chaos on the bridge, shutting out the world. He was left alone with his memories, with the one truth he'd spent a decade running from. "The lie I'm still afraid to look at." Chapter 32 of the 190 IQ Killer, titled Liana's Silence. Ethan and Ramos finally get back to the precinct just as the sun is coming up. Ramos looks like he's about to start a debrief, but Ethan doesn't even glance his way. He's on a mission, marching straight to Liana's office. He finds the door locked and knocks hard. "Liana, open the door." Silence. Ethan's patience is wearing thin. "Liana, don't make me break this down." Just then, a soft click, and the door swings open. Liana looks completely wrecked. Her eyes are red, her hair is a mess, and her hands are shaking. Ethan's voice softens immediately. "Did he move you again?" he asks gently. She just shakes her head. "No, I moved myself. I left because I couldn't handle seeing that room." "Those mirrors," Ethan understands, but the case is getting more dangerous. "Liana, K is escalating," he says. "He's using your past connection." "Stop." Liana cuts him off, raising a hand. "You think I don't know? I've spent years trying to forget that man. Years trying to bury that file." Her voice trembles with frustration. "I didn't tell you everything because I didn't want to remember it." Ethan takes a step closer, trying to connect the dots. He said someone a domino started all of this. Something in the past. Does that mean anything to you? He sees it instantly, a flash of fear and recognition in her eyes. Liana's voice drops to a whisper. There was someone who triggered his obsession with accidents. Ethan is on high alert now. "Who?" Liana hesitates, looking haunted. He talked about a man. From his childhood. Someone who taught him that lies don't kill people, patterns do. The phrase hangs in the air, chilling and familiar. "Name?" Ethan presses, his voice urgent. "I don't know," she admits. He'd never give the name. Only initials. Ethan leans in, his heart pounding. "What initials?" Liana takes a shaky breath and finally says it. GR. Ramos, standing by the door, looks confused. GR? Does that ring a bell? But Ethan has gone completely still, frozen, because those initials don't just ring a bell, they crash like a tidal wave. His last name is Graves, but his father's name? Graham R. Graves, his own father. What a jaw-dropping twist. What could Ethan's father have to do with the Killer K? Chapter 33, The Man Who Taught Him, is an absolute game-changer. Ethan storms out, furious and shaken, with Ramos struggling to keep up. Ethan, slow down. What is going on? He yells. Ethan finally stops, his voice tight with tension. He explains that decades ago, his father volunteered as a counselor at a community center for troubled kids who grew up surrounded by violence and trauma. Ramos stares, the implication dawning on him. You're saying K might have known him? Ethan doesn't need to answer. His silence says it all. They speed towards Ethan's childhood home on Hemlock Street. The house is old, and his father, Graham, now lives there alone, retired and with a fading memory. Ethan knocks, and his father answers, leaning heavily on a cane. Ethan? What brings you here so late? He asks, his voice frail. Ethan gets straight to the point. Dad, I need you to remember someone from your counseling days. A boy. Was there ever a boy obsessed with accidents? With patterns? Someone who believed chaos could be controlled? Graham's face tightens. He looks away, a flicker of old memories crossing his features. Ramos whispers. He remembers something. After a long, heavy silence, Graham finally speaks. There was a boy, he says, his voice low. He was smart. Frighteningly smart. He never smiled, just watched everyone, analyzed everything. One day, he told me something that chilled me to the bone. Ethan's heart pounds in his chest. What did he say, Dad? Graham's voice drops to a near whisper. He said, if a lie starts a chain, someone has to fall. Ramos goes pale. That's him. That has to be K. The words hang in the air, a chilling confirmation of their worst fears. Ethan leans in, his own voice now a whisper. Dad. What was his name? Graham looks up, his eyes filled with a deep, haunting regret. I can't tell you, he says softly. Ethan is stunned. Why not? Graham takes a shaky breath. Because he made me promise. He said if anyone ever came looking for him, it meant the chain had already begun. Chapter 3-4, The accident in room 12. Ramos drove them back to the precinct in silence. Ethan sat in the passenger seat, fists clenched. Ramos finally spoke. Ethan, listen. Kay is messing with your head, with your father, with everything. You can't just... Ethan cut him off. He's not lying. Kay knew my father. He's been planning this for years. They entered the precinct. A forensic tech ran toward them. Detectives, there's something you need to see. In interview room 12. Room 12. Ethan and Ramos exchanged looks and followed. Inside the room, on the table, was a cardboard box. No one had touched it. A white Lego brick sat on the lid. Ramos muttered, "Of course." Ethan opened the box. Inside were a children's drawing of a stick figure falling, a folded paper with the words, "Truth starts with you," a photo of Graham Graves counseling a young boy, face blurred, a VHS tape labeled "The First Accident." Ethan's chest tightened. He whispered, "He wants me to watch this," Ramos whispered back. "You sure that's a good idea?" Ethan didn't answer. He carried the VHS tape to the media room and inserted it into the old player. Static. Flicker. Then a recording of the community center from 15 years ago. Kids playing. Ethan watched in silence. Then the camera panned. A young boy sat alone at a table, stacking dominoes in precise patterns. The tape zoomed in on him as if the cameraman knew he was important. The boy looked up. He had dark eyes, emotionless, calculating, and behind him, Ethan's father, smiling softly, placing a hand on the boy's shoulder. Graham said on the tape, "You're safe here. Nothing bad will happen today." The boy whispered in reply, "That's what people said before the first accident." Ethan leaned forward. "What accident?" The boy answered on the tape almost inaudibly, "The one you never saw." Chapter 35, The Child in the Shadows. The tape continued. The boy arranged the dominoes slowly, carefully, one by one. He spoke without looking at the camera. "One lie makes a mistake. 2 lies make an accident. 3 lies make a pattern." Graham's voice came through. "That's not true, son. People try their best." The boy finally looked at Graham, then at the camera, and even though the screen was old and blurry, Ethan felt those eyes piercing him through time. The boy whispered, "Do you want to see how a chain begins?" He flicked one domino. The entire formation collapsed. The tape cut to static. Ethan leaned back, trembling. Ramos exhaled sharply. "Ethan, that was him? That was Kay as a kid?" Ethan nodded. "But did you see the last frame?" Ramos blinked. "What last frame?" Ethan rewound, paused. In the final millisecond before the static, the tape showed a still image of the community center exit. A shadowy figure stood there, watching the boy, not a child, an adult, a man. Ramos whispered, "Who is that?" Ethan's voice cracked. "That is the first domino. Someone Kay believes started everything." Ramos stared at him. "You think that man is still alive?" Ethan nodded slowly. Kay's handwriting had said, "Find the first domino." Ethan clenched his fists. "I'm done playing Kay's games," he stood. "We find that man, because he's the key to everything." He didn't say the rest out loud, and the only way to save Liana